The PC port of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth hit a record high player count for the series, the Resident Evil movie series to be rebooted again, and Microsoft are really looking forward to putting their games on Switch too. All of that on the TripleJump Gaming News. Hello, welcome back to Monday. We've made it to another week.
Wow.
And another set of news
Well done,
to sink
everybody.
our teeth into. As you can see, James Jenkins is here.
Hello.
Peter's in
here.
Germany. So,
What's he doing there?
don't know.
What are you doing, mate? Get
Causing a
back.
ruckus. But before we talk a little more about Peter Austin's exploits, let's talk about the news, shall we, James?
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has had a kind of resurgence on PC.
A rebirth, if you will.
Very good, very good. So this comes after Square Enix said that the PC version did not meet expectations. However, on PC, specifically on Steam, it hit a concurrent player count of 40,564, which is the highest single-player game for that series. Not ever.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
That's impressive for the series.
It is. It launched last week on the 23rd of January and has since got a lot of people playing it, which is great news for
Not
Square
too
Enix
bad.
because they were very upset with it when it first came out.
Well, yeah, I feel like they're upset about a lot of things, Nothing quite meets expectations for them lot.
It's true.
So just for comparison, Final Fantasy VII Remake, so the first one of the remakes, that set a concurrent peak of 13,000. And then Final Fantasy 16, so that was last year it came out, that reached 27,500, which is not too bad. But so 40,000, that's huge.
It's interesting that the second part of a trilogy has done so much better than the first part, but maybe to be fair, this one is Steam Deck verified, which the original version wasn't, and there was complaints about Final Fantasy VII Remake and 16's, how they ran and the performance. So maybe that has something to do with it. It's not the best in the series ever. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV has had 95,150 concurrent players at points in its release, so there's quite a substantial amount. But what do you think is the reason people are loving this? Do you think it's the performance, or do you think it's the fact that we can now mod?
I mean, I think it's partly. I mean, maybe it's the modding. I mean, we'll get onto that in just a second. I mean, it might also be a slow burn because let's not forget it's concurrent players, so. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's the slow burn of people playing it, or maybe they played a lot of the first part on PlayStation, and then they realised that, okay, well, I'll just wait until the next one comes out on PC. Maybe a lot of people have graduated from PS5 to PC. Who knows? But you did mention mods, and that, of course, brings us on to a comment that director Naoki Hamaguchi made recently. He did ask players not to install any offensive or inappropriate mods in a previous interview.
He has, however, said that he never has any qualms with mods. He said that he uses mods. He says that mods have a significant role in the rise of the PC market. So modding is great, but we all know what people do with mods, don't we? So
you specifically. Stop it.
So a massive player count for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Maybe we'll see them. I mean, they've already talked about maybe just immediately launching them on both platforms going forward. Their concurrent multi-platform strategy is kind of looking more and more likely given how well this is doing. So we will have to see whenever Final Fantasy VII Reborn, I don't know what the third one's called. It comes
Redux.
out. Talking about something or other.
Oh, very good.
Resident Evil movies. We know how good they are and how well received they have been. Well, they're rebooting them again. They're making another one.
Another one.
A brand new one. But apparently this one is going to be more true to the game.
Yes, it's exciting. So it's led up by director Zach Kreger, Zach Kreger, best known as director of a horror movie Barbarian and a member of the comedy group The Whitest Kids You Know. I mean, we know a lot of whiter than white kids, especially up north here. He's working on that.
Heading it, apparently he's writing it and directing it. And there's allegedly, according to the Hollywood Reporter, a bidding war going on regarding who is going to publish this Capcom survival series. Apparently a few studios are bidding for distribution rights, including Netflix and Warner Bros. This isn't the first time we've seen a Resident Evil bit of media, though, is it, James?
No, it's been rebooted twice now. So obviously there were the series of 6 Resident Evil movies starring Milla Jovovich and directed by Paul Anderson. So they didn't really adhere to the games that much. They sort of went on their own path there. But they were hugely successful. They went on to gross $1.2 billion worldwide, which is pretty insane. And then later on, a reboot titled Welcome to Raccoon City.
Did you see that movie?
No, I didn't. No,
I didn't see it either.
No, that's a shame.
Because I thought it looked rubbish.
Yeah, it didn't look great, to be fair. And I think maybe the melees of like the previous thing. For all intents and purposes, if you forget that, you know, those original Milla Jovovich movies were like, you know, if you want a die-hard Resident Evil fan, they seem like kind of fun, silly movies anyway. But it's one of those where it's interesting to see it go back to that. But Welcome to Raccoon City. It tried to be more faithful, couldn't quite match the quality, unfortunately.
No. And then, of course, we had the Netflix series that came out last year, the year before.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
They got cancelled after just one season, and that was, again, a completely different story. So allegedly, these are going to be, they're being described as a revamp that will stay true to the initial games, going back to the series' horror roots. So hopefully there'll be an adaptation of the first game, or maybe the first few games. I would like to see a movie that is a retelling of the first game. Yeah. And I would like them to spend an hour trying to solve a puzzle or having to go back and forth between a series of rooms, looking at paintings and books and stuff to figure out a puzzle to get
piano,
through.
Maybe was that in the first game.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need a Jill sandwich at some point.
Yes. Someone needs to almost turn into a Jill sandwich.
If we can match or. If we can match the energy of that original game, like for the dialogue, for the deliveries, then we're sorted, aren't we?
I don't want the actors to have any emotion in their voice at all. I want it to be as bland as possible.
No prior experience, okay?
Yeah. So we'll see how this turns out. Craig has got a history of doing very good horror movies. So maybe we'll see this be a very successful Resident Evil movie. This obviously comes in the wake of there being so many other movies and TV shows announced by PlayStation on their own. We've got the Horizons movie, the Ghost of Tsushima anime, the God of War TV show, all kinds of things coming out. So maybe we'll see this being a successful entry into the video game, what's the word? Video game, movie, I would say movie. Adaptation, Hall of Fame. Or hopefully it won't end up being like Borderlands.
Yes, or that Silent Hill thing that was
that was bad too, wasn't it?
Not so good.
Well, lastly then, Microsoft. Phil Spencer's been on a podcast again. I feel like Phil Spencer spends his time between playing Fallout 76 and being on podcasts. But he was recently on the Gamertag radio podcast, and he said that Microsoft was really looking forward to putting their games on Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh boy.
And supporting them. So this comes obviously with the rumours that the Microsoft Flight Sim and Halo the Master Chief Collection might be coming to Switch 2, and also follows on for the fact that Minecraft, Pentiment and Grounded all went onto the original Switch. Yeah. So this hasn't been announced yet, obviously, when we saw Doom the Dark Ages recently, that was just on PlayStation as well, but we'll have to see if this happens as well. Yeah,
it's exciting. I mean, so it comes from Windows Central's Jez Corden, so he's reported that most, if not all, will launch on Switch 2 if the console is able to run it. And that's a big if for especially like Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is crazy. And I know that sort of runs a lot on their server tech. But that's mainly to sort of, you still need to render in that stuff. It's pretty wild. And Spencer did say, Nintendo and their innovation, what they mean in this industry, I just always applaud the moves that they make. Phil Spencer, he's good with bigging up, just the games industry in general. He's good at the PR game.
He is good at the PR game.
But
he talked more about them. He said they did a Flash video. I know we'll get more details over time. Really looking forward to supporting them with the games that we have. I just think they're such an important part of the industry. Yes, Phil, they are. That's very true. And then he went on to say a little bit later on, I want everybody to be able to play on Xbox, and it does mean more of our game shipping on more platforms, not just PlayStation. We love the work that we do with Nintendo. We love what we do with Valve on Steam, and that's going to continue. will just continue to do more of it.
Yes.
I know people were very upset about Microsoft games potentially coming to PlayStation, and there's been a lot of discourse even after the recent developer direct of like, why are these games all coming to PlayStation? Like, it's an Xbox showcase. But I'm a fan of this. I think that the more people that get to play games, the more people will buy games, and the more unlikely it is that developers will get let go because more people will pay to play their games.
Exactly, yeah. It just feels like it's more beneficial for the industry as a whole and also more beneficial for players. So it makes a lot of sense. It's one of those where like Microsoft feel like they're, I mean, as much as they like to shoot themselves in the foot and, you know, have Phil Spencer talking a big game on one hand and then being undermined by yet another round of layoffs on the other, that's super annoying. But they sometimes feel like they're ahead of the curve in terms of predicting where the market's going to go, and then they just fumble the execution. It feels like it's one of those sort of things.
I know the argument often is that exclusivity drives people to your console, but I think Xbox have noticed that that's not really happening
No one's
anymore.
coming to their console anyway. That's
people
the thing.
haven't jumped into the console. They're struggling to sell their games on their console because not enough people own them. So to come to other places and sell their games to more people, they still make money. But Microsoft still make money
and they've got
forever.
Lots of money in the bank
have
anyway.
So much money.
I think I saw something. God, I can't remember the source of the quote, but it was Phil Spencer talking about this and saying about the strategy being that he will. Yeah, the idea is that people will go to whatever platform. If games are on everything, people will go to whatever platform that they prefer the hardware of or the infrastructure. Maybe they've got more friends on one platform than the other.
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is, it's choice, isn't it? So it's having that choice, and it's better for consumers and it's better for the developers. So,
exactly. So we'll see if these games will run on Switch 2. Obviously, we still don't know for sure the specs of the Switch 2. We just know it's going to be a bit beefier. What do you think? Would you watch the Resident Evil movie when it comes out? Are you looking forward to playing Microsoft Flight Sim on your Switch 2?
Imagine playing that whilst you're on a flight.
Yeah, just...
God damn. And then you realise you're controlling the actual thing. Oh dear.
Yeah.
No, don't do a barrel roll.
No.
Do not.
Let us know in the comments below what you thought about everything listening to us today.
Please.
Make sure you're following our social media platform for all the latest news. It comes out on there. And we will see you all on Wednesday for another news. All right. Bye.
Bye.